Welcome back. This is video number 26. I will start discussion about tree domains, domain trees, child domains, and then we're going to transition into uh, forest trusts. All right, so tree domain versus child domain. Child domain is it's attached to the root domain, and the name is included in a fully qualified domain name. So it's like a little train with edit cars. For example, Los Angeles dot domain dot com. That will be a child domain. LA will be a child domain. And um, a tree domain doesn't follow this rule, but it sits in the same forest. All right, let's create a VM. Let's create both virtual machines. One will be used for my child domain called LA, and the other one is going to be used to create a tree domain. Then you will see how both domains behave. It's in the standard setup. I'm going to need two virtual machines and ISO, disk, Active Directory, domain services on both, and then we will join it to the domain. Both child and tree domains sit in the same forest as the root domain, and they have trust relationship set up automatically. But we'll get to it next. First, let's get those two virtual machines up and running. I'm using 2019 for a change. In previous videos, I used 2016. It doesn't matter for my exercises. You should be comfortable by now setting up servers, virtual machines, and domain controllers. Okay, so I have first domain controller being installed. Let me create a second one for my tree domain. So far I have otherdomain.com. That's my root domain and the name of the forest. And I will attach la.1, no, otherdomain.com child domain, and I will add yet another domain. It will be my tree domain. Well, you'll see step by step how it's done. Yeah, I'm stingy if it comes to disk space, even though it's dynamically expanded, but still. Same exact setup, 2019. It's called yet another domain.com. This will be my tree domain. la.otherdomain.com will be my child domain. The name of the forest and the name of the root domain in that forest is otherdomain.com. Look at the description of this video. I'm adding the environment settings. Okay. For this exercise, just remember to make sure virtual machine that's running root domain, otherdomain.com is on and it's reachable. I'm going to get to FISM roles in a few videos, but they actually need it to be online and reachable. And uh, all roles are sitting on that server. Okay, I'm setting up my IP address using command line. Again, you get the interface name by running ipconfig space / all. Simple. Nutshell interface IP set address and then the name of your interface, static IP for the server you want, static IP, and just specify subnet mask, which means the last octet is being used, and then you specify the gateway. Then we have to add DNS. The first DNS IP, we're using set DNS. For the second one, we're adding and specifying the index. Oh, there's a typo. And because I have the typo in the first line, the second line gives me an error message. Yeah, those mistakes, I didn't want to cut them out. I want you to see them. And that is interesting. Even though I had the typo, it still looks like I was able to change the IP and set the DNS. I couldn't at the second one. Well, we'll see what happens next. So I'm going to try to promote this domain controller. Just remember to rename the server before you promote it to the domain controller role. Okay, you have an option here. You joining existing domain. You have two options: tree or child. So for this exercise, I will add the tree domain. The name of forest is otherdomain.com, and the new domain is yet another domain. And that's I picked that name on purpose just to show you what the name conflict looks like. NetBIOS has a hard stop limit 15 characters. So the name of my new domain and the name of this virtual machine is pretty much identical if you only take the first 15 characters. And no matter what I do, I keep getting an error message. Okay, let me rename my machine, my virtual machine, and throw in underscores or dashes. That's perfectly fine. So you use hyphens instead of underscores. The first 15 characters of the domain controller are different from the first 15 characters of my domain. Yeah, just reboot. I'm gonna try to edit. Again, we're gonna promote. So we're adding to existing forest and existing domain. The forest name is otherdomain.com, and the root domain, name of the root domain is also otherdomain.com. So we're picking the tree domain. Forest name is otherdomain.com. And now we're going to use the same name, which is yet another domain.com. Look up on the target server. The server name is different yet dash another dash domain. Let's see if this works. So I'm specifying administrator account from other domain, not the local admin of this machine. Okay, let's see if this will work. Yeah, seems to be working fine. Domain functional level, I'm actually going to cover them with FSMA roles. It's set to 2016. This server will be the global catalog, and it's going to have the DNS. There's no need for read-only domain controller, and we're not using any specific site. The first default site will do. Now the last two fields, they deal with DSRM. We covered this DSRM account in the previous video. Is domain services restore mode. That's the admin account, not the local admin. It's the DSRM local admin account. You need it to restore your domain from the backup. So whatever you set in here, That's your DSRM admin account. Okay. You can leave this option the way it is. I'm going to cover DNS and delegation a little later. And this is the NetBIOS I mentioned a couple minutes ago when we were discussing name conflict. This is actually the name of the domain, the first 15 characters. Next. Double check. Next. And let's go. All right, I had to fast forward. So when this is done, in the same forest, otherdomain.com, I will have the root domain, otherdomain.com, and I will have tree domain, yet another domain.com. Next thing I'm going to do, once this is done, I will create a child domain called la.otherdomain.com. And then I will test replication, and we will test automatic trust, how it works, if it's within the same forest, as opposed to trust set up on two different forests. But that's next. Okay, that's done. Server will be rebooted. I'm logged in as admin. And let's look at the trusts. This is the root domain and the forest. And the trust relationship is automatically set. It says right there the trust type is tree domain. It's set up automatically. We don't have to do anything. There's nothing else for us to do because it's in the same forest and it's part of trust configuration, Active Directory configuration. DNS is also set up. Nothing on the conditional forwarders. Yes, this is my domain. And I can ping my root domain. The IP of my yet another domain is 204. The IP of other domain is 201. I am not able to access the server. Seems to be okay. Okay, we're going to deal with this issue later. Now let's do LA child domain. So let's already switch to virtual machine. 99% of name resolution issue have to do with DNS. When you have the domain controller set up, the first IP address of your DNS should be the local loop, which is 127.0.0.1. And then the secondary one could be another, should be another domain controller. Ideally, in this case, it's the root, which is otherdomain.com. Okay, we said installing Active Directory domain services, and we will promote this server to be the child domain controller. So it's an existing domain, existing forest. We're not creating a new forest, we're not creating a new domain. The name of the forest is otherdomain.com. And this time we're going to pick child domain. Instead of typing, I will try to find it now. Let's see if the system is able to detect. So I'm putting administrator. It can't find it. Why not? It's not able to find it because permissions are used. The administrator I used is the local administrator of this server. I have to specify other domain / administrator. Then the system knows I'm using credentials of the admin of the root domain. Still not showing anything up. You have to clear the field first from parent domain name, and then you hit click on select. There you go. Much better. Okay. So which one? We want this child domain to be a child domain to otherdomain.com domain. Now, new domain name. Should I put LA or should I just put la.otherdomain.com? LA. Otherwise, it makes no sense. We would end up with la.otherdomain.com.otherdomain.com. Okay, same configuration, same exact thing. First, replication default site. We're not creating any new sites. There's no need for that. DSRM admin password. Now, in this case, we need to create a separate delegation, but it's done automatically, so there's not much for you to do. NetBIOS, remember the first 15 characters. Simple. Click on install. I don't know about you, but I always read warnings, anything that's displayed. There's a reason why Microsoft believes we should know it. Plus, you learn something. Very quick configuration. There are pretty much no objects in the root domain, so replication will be a breeze. Both VMs have at least 2 virtual CPUs and at least 8 gigs. Well, everything is fake, so it doesn't really matter. But it kind of does matter because if one machine is 4 gigs, the other one is 8 gigs, you will see the difference in response time. Okay, I'm restarting my child domain. domain controller. So we have one domain controller for the root domain, otherdomain.com. We have one domain controller for tree domain called yet another domain.com. We have one domain controller for the child domain called la.otherdomain.com, or just la. Okay, first test. Let's see if we're able to log in. Well, looks like I'm in. Yeah, there's nothing I can do about that. You just have to wait until it's done. Okay. Yeah, I'm double checking the domain membership. Well, it's a domain controller, so it's not joined to the domain. It's just servicing the domain. Okay, yeah, by the way, I'll cover these tools closer to the end. Okay, so you kind of want to go to view to see additional items and then go to advanced view. Make sure you change that. Okay, let's create a new user. So why do you need child domain? Well, you don't. Why do you need tree domain? You don't. But if you insist on setting them up, if you have one location and you have, for example, HR, R&D, or you have different departments, pretty large, you can create a separate server for each site, and they can report to, they can be connected to and replicate to your root domain. Yeah, it's a standard checks and standard setup. This is my first default site. Is the site created, initially created when you set up the domain. Okay, this is what I see. I see tree domain, I see child domain and the root domain. And then inside LA, there are two replicating partners. It's yet another domain and other domain. So they can see each other and replicate from each other. The child domain is pretty much creating its own subdomain. It's still replicating with the root domain, but not every not every single portion of Active Directory is replicated to the root. Okay, that's first thing I normally do. I run the replication and then check if there are any errors. I already see errors. Okay, we're gonna have to deal with them later. If you have multiple errors during replication and multiple replication partners are involved, just focus on the first two and then expand it more and more and more. Okay, it looks like it's not able to reach one of my domain controllers. So this is replication between LA and its root. Sometimes all you have to do, especially when you just set up your domain controller, wait a little bit. Make sure replication is ready. Make sure it's set up. Everything is synced up, and then run the replication one more time. Also, make sure you can resolve names. So you ping the name, and it's supposed to um, return the IP address of that domain controller. Okay, so let's start a client that's joined to the root domain. And let's see if I'm able to log in using my credentials for my child domain. A minute ago, I created a new account on my child domain controller. It was called LA user or LA domain user. I forgot. First, I want to make sure I can log in as other domain user. I should be because it's joined directly to the root domain, otherdomain.com. But it's just the first test to make sure the client is actually alive and it's able to connect. I'm in. Let's confirm. Yep, I'm connected to other domain. Let's see if double click if I'm prompted for credentials. If I am, there's a problem. Either with replication, connectivity, uh, it could be anything. It seems to be fine. Now let's see if I can reach LA, child domain. I can't. So we're gonna have to investigate why. And let's see if we're able to reach the tree domain, yet another domain.com. I would be surprised if this worked. Let's sign out. So we were testing this as other domain user credentials, the user credentials created on the root domain. Now, on the machine joined to otherdomain.com, we will try to log in as LA user. That I already mentioned that there is no such thing as la.otherdomain. It's just LA. The fully qualified domain is la.otherdomain.com. You can try at la.otherdomain.com. Just play with it. Okay, so on the computer, on the client joined to the root domain, I'm able to log in with user credentials created on my child domain. That tells me an automatic trust relationship works fine. Credentials are being passed from child to the root domain. Okay, I'm logged in as LA user. on the host name, other domain, Win10, which is joined to the root domain. And let's see the authentication server, which one? And the authentication server is my child domain controller. So everything's working fine. Trust relationship is working beautifully. I will be surprised if that didn't work. LA user should be able to reach LA server because it's authenticated by that server. So that shouldn't be any problems with this. The first 15 characters, I don't know if you remember. Okay, I didn't get a chance to install, didn't get a chance to create the user. So that didn't work. Yet another domain didn't work. But let me see if I'm able to log in as administrator of my child domain. You can set up a not replication trust for every single user or for specific users. Just double checking to make sure um, every single user from my child domain is able to log into this client. I will continue this conversation and I will get into trust relationship and we're going to fix whatever issues we were having before. This video will just show you how to install and configure a tree domain and a child domain. Trust relationship is extremely important. Make sure DNS is set up correctly. Make sure domain controllers can see each other. Make sure replication is working. Replication has to be healthy because sooner or later you're going to have problems. Make sure there's no name / domain control name conflict when you try to join it to the domain. Be mindful of NetBIOS limitation, 15 characters. I'm just showing you trust relationship, but we'll get to it a little later. It will be a dedicated video just to two-way trust relationship and one-way trust relationship. So you can investigate this the trust relationship from both sides, from the root domain controller and from the child domain controller. So it's a parent child, and the other yet another domain has tree, if you remember. As you can see right here, it's tree root and a child. And I'm checking this on the root domain. Yeah, it's a little it's a little difficult to grasp at first, but it's not really complicated. And this is my tree domain. Just to be clear, tree domain and domain trees, two different things. Don't confuse them. We are in the tree domain controller, yet another domain.com. It's the last thing I want to show you, and I'm going to ask you to subscribe. It will help me, give me motivation to upload more videos. and set up your lab and follow along. Make mistakes, fix them. This is how you learn. This is tree root. It's showing you trust relationship between this tree root domain and the root domain um, in the same forest. Okay, that's about it. See you in the next video. Have a good day.